opening set, but she was getting some really interesting advice from her coach Sven Grunewald. Let's listen in on the changeover.
Just have to keep up the right attitude. Yeah. And the other thing is that on her, what you did now, you stepped back a little bit. You gave her a different look, so that's good also. Yeah. And every ball that goes a little bit longer than 2 or 3 times, just make a play. See if you can get her into that rally. Your movement is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
The movement is fine. Get into the longer the point, you're going to win it. The shorter, yeah, she's an advantage then. That's what she likes. She wants to keep it short. And you don't have to keep it short. It's better from the back of the court. Much better. Much better. And she knows that.
I really felt that Coach Grunewald was saying a lot of good things there, reassuring her, building her confidence, and I think telling her the right things. Did you think so, Lindsay?
Definitely. He was very clear with her with his message, and what we didn't hear in the beginning was him telling Sorana, well, we can't control your injury, so get over it. Let's just focus in. Let's do the best what you can do today. And that's so important as a young player. She's not used to playing with injuries. A lot of pressure in the semifinal match. And he was really just getting her to focus on moving forward. Forget about the first set. It was only one break. Get back to business.
Yeah, he said a lot of good things, and I think she can take 1 or 2 of those things and really focus on those. Obviously, he put a lot on the table for her, and I think she has to find something in there that she's comfortable with. And each player is different, too, and I think, Karina, we saw that with Dinara Safina and her coach, Zeljko Krajan. She likes to hear something different from what Grunewald was saying to Cirstea.
Well, he's a little more forceful with his advice, shall we say. But you're right, Leif. That's part of being a good coach, is knowing what your player needs, how to communicate with them, especially when you're coming on the court in the middle of a match.
What we talked about was Cirstea panicking in some of these rallies, and Sven trying to build her confidence up, saying just keep the 3 balls in.
Just game, second set. Come on, Sam.
Tennis Channel's presentation of the LA Women's Tennis Championship, presented by Herbalife, is brought to you in part by Tennis Express. We deliver worldwide, right to your front door. A look now at our Tennis Express gear update. Sam Stosur, and a very popular racket, this Babolat. This one, the Pure Storm, and a real rocket launcher. Gives you a lot of power. Sporting the Lacoste, some Nike shoes.
And there's that serve that's so tough to read. Sam, one of the few female players that tosses that ball over her head and yet is still able to go wide with it. She's a little bit like a pitcher. She doesn't give it away, and so many girls will telegraph their serve by location of their toss. Sam uses the same toss for each serve. Really gives her an advantage.
She looks to me like she's mixing up the serve so much better today. We mentioned yesterday she was getting into that pattern of just kicking it out to the backhand. She's mixing up the placement and the pace of her serve so well today.
Wow, what a game that was. Stosur really showing her intentions here in the second set with 3 aces in that game. Let's pay off the Orbits trivia. Who was the only Romanian player to win a Sony Ericsson title last year? Alexandra Dolguru. Lowest ranked player to win the title. She was outside the top 200. I mean, I was thinking it might have been Morariu, because I know Morariu has a little bit of Romanian in it.
Morariu has a lot of Romanian parents. but we'd have to go back a few years for that one leave.
Karina has discussed a possible comeback in the year 2010
with Davenport.
Well, that would be something, wouldn't it, if we... Well, Moraru Davenport, former Wimbledon doubles champions, returning to the tour. Although I'm not sure that's going to happen anytime soon.
Now you're just speculating, Lee. Pure speculation.
We want to know these things. Yeah, that run there is a little bit of the movement. And she just didn't quite get to that ball with any real commitment.
It's definitely affecting her. She doesn't have that explosive first step, which you need in tennis.
A great serve. Well, Lindsay, you talked about something about how, as an experienced player, you realize that you have to play when you're nicked up, and you have a little bit of an injury or a muscle pull.
But you do have to be smart about it as well. You have a long season ahead of her, and especially with the U.S. Open around the corner. It's a tricky thing about tennis. You're never quite sure when to save yourself, potentially for the rest of the year. You certainly don't want to make the injury worse.
Yeah, this is some trouble here for Cirstea.
Sam Stosur's played it so smart today. She hasn't played outside herself. She's been very good about being consistent. She knows her opponent's a little bit injured, not playing her best, and Sam's just taking it to her.
Saved a break point with some of her best tennis.
And that's exactly the kind of point her coach, Van Gronefeld, wanted her to play. He feels the more balls she can keep in, she's in the advantage, the more consistent of the two players, or so he believes. And this was one of the first points where Cirstea had Stosur on the defense, trying to make her come up with a few slices, and it really enabled Cirstea to move inside the court and hit that backhand winner.
Lindsay, do you think you would have been comfortable with this on-court coaching as a player?
I had it briefly towards the end of my career, and I'm of the opinion that there should be no on-court coaching, or open it up and have the coach sit there the whole time. I don't agree with the once a set, the coach runs on and runs off and has 30, 40 seconds to deliver a message once per set. It really doesn't make a lot of sense to me in that capacity.
Although you did play Fed Cup for the U.S. and you felt, hey, that's great to have the coach there on every changeover. That's a little bit of a different sort of application of that idea.
I was very lucky to experience Fed Cup, and especially with Billie Jean as my captain for so many years, Billie Jean King.
Yeah, here's a look at the roadmap for the Sony Ericsson WTA Tour. Longer off season, more breaks, and you can see new venues. China is evolving as a real tour presence, and on-court coaching at all events. Now there's not on-court coaching at the slams, correct?
That's right.
So slams are still on your own out there. Yeah, that's some solid tennis, as you said, Lindsay, from Stosur, playing well inside herself.